What was the thing that was just a little bit off about Manchester City today? Could you put your finger on it?
I just thought that, first of all, like we said at half-time, you have to credit Newcastle in their game plan and the way they executed it. So they had some outstanding performances on the pitch individually, but collectively they stifled Man City. But also, there was an element of Man City playing into Newcastle's hands. Some of their players that you usually would look at, and I thought Rodri had a pretty poor game for him. You know, like silly little mistakes. Even Kyle Walker was inside of the pitch a lot, which he's totally used to doing, but then made, I think, the wrong choice a few times. I think, can the goalkeeper do a little bit better for the free kick? You've got to say, great technique, but he's tried to maybe gamble a little bit on it. I think Man City were a little bit below par, but then showed their quality to come back from the 2-goal deficit.
Alan, can you?
Yeah, I just thought that, you know, Newcastle's game plan, especially when they could counter-attack and get it to St Maximin on that left-hand side, caused all sorts of problems. And I think if you're another Premier League team looking at the footage of today's game, if you can get at Man City's back four, if you are brave enough to get at them and get some bodies in the box, you can cause problems. Because I think they're so used to keeping the ball and being on the offensive that when they're asked to defend, they sometimes find it a little bit difficult. And Newcastle took full advantage of that. And, yeah, it was a terrific game. And, you know, I think both managers would say we nearly had the 3 points, and both of them say I'm happy with a point, you know, because that's the way the game went.
Just for the sake of comparison, the last fixture that they met over at St James's Park last season, this was back in May, it was 5-0. 5-0 to Manchester City, which is a testament to how much Newcastle have improved, really. So this, as we said at the start of the show, this was a good test, a good gauge of how far Newcastle have come. On a report card, is that an A+ for you, Newcastle?
I think you have to, because of the level of opposition. And in the manner in which they performed, you can't take anything away from the manager's game plan and the way the players went out and executed it. To have so many players on the pitch that have performed really well against one of the best teams in the world, you have to say A+ for me.
A+?
Yeah. And Eddie Howe's signings, you talked about last year, but the signings he's made since he's been in charge, I know they've had great financial backing, but he's got all his signings right. You know, they've all been successful and they've all come in and made them a stronger team.
I think it's really interesting as well. I mean, Eddie Howe coached as well players to become better. I mean, Fabian Schär we saw today wasn't too bad himself. We've got the likes of Joe Linton on that pitch, who was pretty much outcasted under the previous manager. So much credit goes to Eddie Howe, Gary, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. You know, we've got Alan sat here who's managed over 300 times in the Premier League. You know, man management is absolutely crucial, isn't it? And it's about getting the best out of individuals and then collectively as a group. And I think if you look at the stats, this particular calendar year, I think Newcastle have picked up, you know, almost as many points as the very best. I think they've picked up maybe 3rd or 4th most points in the Premier League. But so he's done a great job. The
stark difference is just how different the mood at St James's Park is, how different Newcastle and Newcastle fans are feeling at the moment. You would not have seen a result like that if it was still under Mike Ashley's era, because going to a match like today, a lot of Newcastle fans typically in the past would be asking things, so what's going to go wrong today? They wouldn't have gone, first and foremost.
Most of them.
Yeah, they would have gone first and foremost. But they would have been asking questions of, oh, what's going to go wrong today? You know, what's going to happen? But today, even the fans went in with just a little bit of belief. Even they didn't think they would win. They went in thinking, we're going to put on a show. We're going to be able to impose ourselves against Manchester City, and how different Newcastle is at the moment. Yeah,
and, you know, Eddie Howe has built some momentum at the club. He's built belief within the group. You know, Trippier for his interesting game that he had today, scored a goal, nearly got sent off, etc. But I think he was a great signing, you know, for them last season when they were in really big trouble, because he led by example when he came in. And I think he played a big part in turning the mood round there as well. So, yeah, the credit has to go to Eddie Howe, but I think there's been some, you know, outstanding performances, Trippier being one. Big Dan Burn again, you know, he's been exceptional.
We were speaking about it this morning, but even you look at the three midfielders, you wouldn't look at those midfielders. Joe Linton, the former striker, Willock, certainly an attacking midfielder, and then you've got Bruno Guimaraes, and then you're like, okay, there's not really even though Bruno was doing it today. They broke up play a lot, but the two either side of him are playing against one of the best midfields that can tear people apart. Have done really well off the ball, but also on it. They've held their own and matched some of the best players in the world at times. And as I said, is the coaching aspect of Eddie, the recruitment, but also improving players and little instilling bits of confidence to Joel Linton. We've never seen him perform like this until Eddie Howe was there. Obviously the recruitment, Nick Pope is looking like he's a great signing. And you have to say, when Callum Wilson's fit, he looks like he's going to get a goal. So they're looking good, Newcastle, and I think if you speak to any of their fans, it's probably the best they've felt in a long time.
Yeah,
I guess it's really early days, but I thought Botman as well at the back was really good for them today.
Would you say that Newcastle's midfield is better than Manchester United's midfield at the moment?
At the moment,
in
yeah.
Performance-wise, yeah, you wouldn't say maybe on paper, but yeah, performance-wise.